It's just a drain clog, my girlfriend Tessa said. I pulled out a bracelet. Engraved to another man booked the same hotel she cheated in. She walked in expecting a proposal, but her lover was already there. And so was his wife. I just hit play and watched her face collapse. The sink was clogged again. Tessa shouted from the bathroom like I'd left a dead animal in the drain. Can you please clean up after you shave for once? I walked in. Water pooled up to the brim. I hadn't shaved in 3 days. I rolled up my sleeves and grabbed the plunger. She stood behind me with her arms crossed, already annoyed. I didn't argue. I just started pulling out hair. It didn't look like mine. It was long, brown, and clumped with makeup residue. Hers. But then the plunger hit something hard. A clink. I reached in again, and this time pulled out a bracelet. Metal. Silver. Still dripping. I wiped it with a towel. Forever yours, C. I turned around. Tessa froze. Her arms dropped. That's wow. I haven't seen that in years. I thought I lost it in college. Where'd you get it? I asked. She squinted. Some random guy? Before we met. It's nothing. I must have dropped it again. But I remembered cleaning that same drain last month when it backed up. There was nothing in it. So unless the bracelet crawled up from the pipes by itself, someone put it there recently. She changed the subject fast. Said she was going to yoga. Kissed me on the cheek. Avoided my eyes. When the door shut behind her, I went back to the sink. The clump of hair was still there. I pulled it apart with gloves. Tied in the strands, a single long black thread, not hers. Not from any of her clothes either. Looked like part of a drawstring. Like sweatpants. I went to the trash bin in the bathroom. Dug past the used cotton pads and empty toothpaste box. At the bottom, a receipt from a boutique jewelry shop downtown. Dated 2 weeks ago. Paid in cash. Item, bracelet engraving service. I didn't say a word when she got back. Just acted normal. But that night while she was asleep, I opened her laptop. Open tabs from that week included. Weekend spa package for 2. Luxury cabins anonymous reservation. Remove EXIF data from photos iPhone. I copied the browsing history to a USB drive. The next day, I bought a $35 voice recorder and hid it behind the air vent near the hallway. That's where she always took calls when she didn't want me to hear. And I waited. That night, I went to bed early. Pretended to be asleep. She stayed in the hallway for 15 minutes talking softly. The next morning before work, I pulled out the recorder and played it back on my phone while sitting in my car. Her voice was clear. She laughed a few times. Whispered, "If Chris shows up unannounced again, I swear I'm gonna have a heart attack." I sat frozen. Chris? I don't know a Chris. She never mentioned a Chris. Then another line. He left the damn bracelet here. I shoved it down the sink so Nate wouldn't see it. I'm not stupid. I paused the recording. My chest went tight. Not from sadness, just focus. So it wasn't from college. It was recent. And she admitted it. I turned off the audio, stepped out of the car, and walked into work like nothing happened. She texted me mid-morning. Thinking of you. Want Thai food tonight? I replied. Sounds good, smiley face. But all I could think about was the bracelet. The engraving. The way she lied without blinking. The way she tried to make me feel like I was messy when she was hiding another man in the drain. That night, after dinner, she asked to use my phone to call her sister. Said hers was dead. She typed the number wrong. The contact read, Chris, gym guy? She stared at the screen a little too long. I said, forgot the number? She laughed it off. Said she accidentally saved someone else's name. Just some trainer I met a while back. I smiled. Cool. You still going to that gym? She paused. No. Quit last month. Then why is she calling a trainer she quit a month ago? She changed the subject. Said she was tired. Went to bed early. I stayed up watching a movie I wasn't really watching. When she dozed off, I went through her purse. Found a flyer. Couples massage. Members only discount. The eucalyptus room. I'd never been there in my life. She'd never mentioned it once. Inside the flyer was a punch card. 6 stamps. Free massage after 10. I flipped it over. Scribbled on the back. Next time, bring that black set, see. I put everything back exactly the way it was. And I slept like a rock. Because if she was hiding this much in plain sight, then she had no idea what I was about to uncover next. Tessa thought I dropped it. Thought I moved on. She didn't notice how carefully I started tracking her habits. What time she left, where she claimed to be, and when she lost signal. She went out 2 nights later. Drinks with coworkers. I checked her Uber receipt from our shared account. Drop-off point, a hotel across town. The same one she used to mention when talking about dream staycations. She never mentioned it again after her so-called girls' trip. I drove there. Parked across the street. Waited in the car. She walked in wearing a coat I hadn't seen before, black heels, and a small overnight bag. She wasn't meeting coworkers. She didn't come back until noon the next day. Told me she crashed at her friend Mel's place. I nodded, handed her a coffee, and told her she looked tired. She smiled, relieved. That same night, I emailed the hotel pretending I'd left something in a suite. After a few tries and the right kind of polite persistence, the desk clerk checked. Yes, someone matching her name had stayed there last weekend. Not under her full name, just her first name and an initial. Hers. And the man? His name was on the reservation. Chris. There it was again. I didn't confront her. I ordered a second recorder and hid it inside the car door pocket. She always took her calls on Bluetooth. 3 nights later, she went on another errand. Forgot to disconnect her phone. The recorder picked it up, her voice, laughing, teasing, repeating a name. Chris. And saying she couldn't wait for next time. I uploaded the audio to a hidden drive and kept it off the cloud. Then something unexpected happened. A text came to my burner number. One I'd used only once, to email the hotel from a fake name. The message came from an unknown number and simply said, "You don't know everything. Meet me. I think you deserve the full story." No signature. Curious, I traced the number. It led to a social profile of a woman named Karen. Her page was locked down, but one picture was visible. Her, 2 kids, and a man standing behind her with sunglasses. Chris. That's when it hit me. Chris wasn't single. I replied with a meet-up spot and arrived early. She came alone, looking tense, but direct. She'd been married to Chris for 6 years. She found my number from his recently deleted call log. She wasn't looking for sympathy. She had questions too. We exchanged proof. I showed her the bracelet and hotel receipts. She handed me screenshots from his second phone. He'd texted Tessa from it. One message read like a confession. He called her his escape. Another image showed a positive pregnancy test on her bathroom counter. A time-stamped selfie. Tessa's nails. Tessa's sink. Karen hadn't confronted him yet, but she'd been tracking everything. I gave her my timeline, and she gave me hers. It lined up perfectly. Chris had been staying with Tessa every other weekend. She told me she was visiting her sister, but she never brought back anything. No gifts, no photos, not even stories. Now I knew why. The real twist? Karen suspected Tessa wanted more than an affair. There were payments, small transfers, from Chris's account to hers, labeled as shared costs. Tessa was preparing for something. A move? A pregnancy? A life without me? The betrayal wasn't just physical. It was methodical, quiet, organized. I asked Karen if she was willing to do something drastic. She said yes before I even finished the sentence. We agreed to stay in touch, to keep sharing what we found, and to expose them both, but not with yelling. With proof. Cold, timed, and public. Tessa came home that night humming. Said she felt recharged. She cooked pasta, poured wine, called me her rock. I played along. Because in the corner of the room, in the flower vase, I'd hidden a second mic. She didn't notice. She never would. But now I wasn't just collecting evidence. I was building a finale. And it was going to be in the same hotel room where she said she barely remembered staying. She would remember this. Because this time, she wouldn't be checking in with a lie. She'd be checking in to meet her past, her present, and the truth, face to face. And I would be standing there waiting. The next 2 weeks were spent orchestrating the collapse. I started with small things. Bought a ring box, left it open on the dresser one morning. She didn't say anything, but her behavior shifted. Softer, sweeter. She cleaned the apartment for once. Made breakfast 2 days in a row. I booked a weekend away, same hotel, same room, same sweet package she used with Chris. I told her it was a getaway. Just the 2 of us. No distractions. She said yes without hesitation. While she packed lingerie and makeup, I coordinated with Karen. We picked the exact day and time. Karen would arrive 30 minutes after Tessa. Chris would get there in between, thinking he was meeting someone new, under a fake dating profile I created, using an old photo of Tessa cropped just enough to pass. 3 traps, 1 room, and all of them walked in willingly. On Friday afternoon, Tessa and I checked in. She was giddy, thought this was a proposal trip. She even wore white. I pretended to forget the champagne in the car, gave her the key, and let her go in first. Upstairs, I had already set the scene. I arrived earlier that morning while she was at a fake nail appointment I suggested. I installed a camera hidden in a flower vase. Another under the TV stand. I scattered rose petals. Left a printed menu from the hotel restaurant with a note. Tonight, we celebrate us. When she opened the door, I was already behind her, watching. She stepped inside slowly, eyes scanning. She called out my name. I said I'd be right up. 10 minutes later, I walked in with a bottle of wine and a bag of groceries. She had already changed into a satin dress. Hair done. Perfume strong. She kissed me. I kissed her back. We ate dinner in the room. She made a toast to new beginnings. I asked her if there was anything she wanted to clear up before the night began. She laughed. Said no. I poured her another drink. Told her I had a surprise coming soon. She thought it was a ring. 15 minutes later, there was a knock. I told her to wait inside. I answered the door. It was Chris, wearing a blue button-up. No tie. Holding flowers. He looked confused when he saw me. Asked for Claire. I stepped aside and let him walk in. Tessa stood up and froze. Her face went pale. She dropped her glass. Chris looked just as stunned. He stammered. Tried to turn around. Before he could reach the door, it opened again. Karen stepped in. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't flinch. She walked in holding a manila envelope and an iPad. On the screen, the live feed of the hotel room. The one being recorded right now. Tessa backed up toward the bathroom. Chris stayed frozen. Karen didn't look at either of them. She walked over to the table, placed the envelope and tablet down, and pressed play. The video showed Tessa laughing in the same hotel room 2 weeks earlier. Wrapped in a robe. Pouring wine for Chris. Tessa looked down at the floor. Chris looked at the ceiling. No one moved. I poured myself a drink. Karen stepped forward and opened the envelope. Bank records. Transfer slips. Hotel invoices. A printed copy of the pregnancy test photo. Tessa muttered something under her breath and turned to me. Said this was entrapment. Said I had no right. I didn't respond. Karen added one more item. A letter Chris had written. To Tessa. About leaving his wife. She looked horrified. Not because of what was exposed, but because it was no longer under her control. Chris finally spoke. Said he didn't mean for this to happen. Karen just handed him a second envelope. Divorce papers. Signed. Ready. He didn't even try to stop her. I turned to Tessa and told her everything was recorded. That the room was bugged. That the footage was already saved. She tried to rush for the tablet. I blocked her. Karen took the tablet and walked out. I packed the wine. Took my jacket. Walked to the door. Tessa shouted behind me. Said I couldn't leave like this. But I already had. Outside, in the hallway, I met Karen at the elevator. She handed me a flash drive. I gave her the camera footage. No words were exchanged. We both got what we came for. I didn't go home. I didn't answer her messages. I didn't give her a speech. While Tessa was still in the hotel room scrambling to rewrite the story, I was already at the apartment clearing my side out. I had the lease transferred weeks ago. My name was off everything. All my essentials were packed into a rental I parked 2 blocks away. By the time she returned the next morning, the apartment was quiet. Bare. Empty except for one envelope on the counter. Inside it, a printed transcript of her phone call with Chris, a photo of the bracelet I'd pulled from the sink, and a copy of the hotel bill, charged to her own credit card. I had rerouted the reservation 3 days prior. On top of the stack was a short note. Not handwritten. Typed. Cold. It said one thing. You buried your secret in the pipes. I just followed the drain. That afternoon, her sister called me. Her voice was tense. Tessa told the family I was emotionally unstable. Said I lashed out. Tried to manipulate her. That I'd lost it over nothing. I forwarded her sister the Dropbox link. The full video. The audio files. The pregnancy test photo. An hour later, I got silence in return. That was enough. Then Chris started calling me. First from a blocked number. Then from his work phone. Then from a new one I didn't recognize. He didn't threaten. He begged. Told me Karen had taken the kids, locked him out of his own accounts, and gone dark. I didn't answer. But I forwarded one final file to his company email. Not to hurt him. Just to make sure someone else saw what he tried to hide. A week later, Karen told me he'd been suspended. Misuse of travel funds. Suspicion of financial fraud. She didn't have to leak anything. His own emails were enough. As for Tessa, she didn't stop. She messaged from a new number pretending to be someone else. Called from her friend's phone. Left a letter at my old office. She said she was sorry. That she didn't know what she was doing. That it wasn't love. That it meant nothing. She tried guilt. Then nostalgia. Then threats. I didn't engage. But I left her one final message. Delivered in person. I waited outside her new place one evening. No confrontation, just a quiet drop-off. I rang the bell, left the package at the door, and walked away. Inside the box, the bracelet, the positive pregnancy test, a copy of the hotel room footage on USB, and a baby onesie I ordered online. Neutral color. No label. No message. Tied around the onesie, the bracelet with its inscription now clearly cleaned and polished. Forever yours, C. She'd know what it meant. She'd know it was the last thing I ever sent. I walked back to the car. Didn't look back. Later that night, I got a single notification. A transfer attempt on our old joint account. Declined. I smiled. Because 3 days earlier, I'd already closed it. Every shared card. Every shared login. Every trace of me, gone from her systems. She tried to rebuild the mess she made with new lies. But the people around her already knew the truth. She didn't just get caught. She got recorded. On camera. In her own words. Nothing to deny. Nothing to twist. Just consequences. Real. Permanent. Recorded. And now? Now she knows what it feels like to be the one left cleaning up the drain. And that's the story. If you're still here, that means you're one of us. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. I drop new chaos every single day, and trust me, tomorrow's story, it's even worse than this one.